You ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Well, let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is a Wednesday, 10th day of March, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. You'll also have access to the chat box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop. Not to worry. Just point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live, and there you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. You just won't have access to the chat box. We also stream live during this broadcast on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. We also archive each daily show on our YouTube channel. So anytime you miss a show, just head over to the YouTube channel. We have archived over 1,600 daily broadcasts so far. You can scroll back a week, a day, a month, a year, a couple years, and you'll hear us talking about the same things, using the same language, the same indicators, the same strategy. If it's not broke, leave it alone. Now, if you happen to be listening to this broadcast after the fact as a podcast, and you would like to be able to see the charts that we're talking about, hit pause on the podcast player, and just point your browser to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. Find the corresponding date and click play. You'll have the benefit of both audio and video. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button. It's free, and you'll be notified each and every time that we go live. Let's open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you today for your blessings, your mercy, and for your grace. Thank you that you've promised us that where 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, that you also are there in the midst. Lord, we welcome you amongst us today and celebrate this gift of life that you have lavished upon each of us. We ask that you would open our ears so that we may hear your voice. Open our minds so that we may receive your eternal wisdom. Open our spirits so that we may know your leading and guidance. And open our hearts so that we may receive your wonderful love. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, happy Wednesday, guys. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. After I do that, Michael will give us a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. After that, I'll come back and we'll go over the concierge trade alerts, the Logic 247 alerts, everything that's happened in the last 24 hours since yesterday's broadcast. And then today being Wednesday, at the top of the hour, I believe David Grant will be joining us. We'll talk about the golden journey. Currently here in the U.S., the Dow is up 399 points. That's 1.25%. NASDAQ is up 66. S&P 500 up 28. And the Russell 2000 up 47. And for the Russell, that's a gain of a little over 2%. In the commodity basket today, crude oil is down 49 cents, trading 63.52 last. Gold down 40 cents, trading 17.1650 last. Silver down 9 cents, trading 26.09 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 8 points on the session. Shanghai lost 1.5 points. The Hang Seng gained 134. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 5 points. The DAX up 102. The CAC up 65. It's pretty light trading around the globe. Now that gives us a mixed day in Asia, a mixed day in the UK, and so far it is a big green Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. So with that, if you're ready, Michael,
I am ready.
Swing it over to you and get a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. And as I said, I'll be back after that. We'll cover the logic alerts, the concierge alerts, and as far as I know, top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, we'll talk with Mr. David Grant. Okie doke, I can see your charts. It's all yours. I don't hear you, but I see you.
Oh, okay.
There
all right, let's try it again.
There you go. Now
Here
we go.
Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 10th day of March, 2021. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the homepage at cfrn.net. Right here on the homepage, scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, be brought to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading channel so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link, okay? If you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial. So you got to click the link. All right. Now I wanted to see something here. Excuse me. Okay. That's that. Now, spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is Wednesday, the 10th day of March 2021. Today we made 45 ticks in crude, 18 ticks in gold, and 27 ticks on the ES. Put us at 967.5 on the morning session. Today it took 7 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 24 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're up $9,410 a contract. That's over 8 trading days, averaging $1,176 per contract per 2-hour trading day. We have gone 45 out of 46 days so far this year, getting our goal. That puts us at day number 46 on the year, with a total gross of $40,895 in the room in that 2-hour session. With one contract. That's an average of $889 with one contract, 2 hours a day. Okay. Now, let's get into what happened today in the room. All right. With gold, we actually had fewer trades on gold than any other market today, which is unusual for me. I'm going to have to sneeze here in just a minute, but our first trade on gold was right here. We picked up one tick. That was a close above the trend line. I don't have the trend line drawn, but I'm sure I said at the time what I was thinking about it. You can see I have all these areas all drawn out here where I thought the gold was going to go and what it was going to do this morning. This one right here. Yeah, okay, we started out right here and we had all these areas that I was drawing out where I thought it was going to go and what it was going to do. And we didn't get our first trade set up until right here where we got into one. We got one tick profit on that. It didn't make it all the way down to the pullback area. It did try to get up here to this area. Didn't quite make it on that first run, but it did make it on the second one right here. In this particular case, it was really no trade setup to get long there. Okay, then we grabbed another 3 ticks here when it turned around and started to move down. I'm sorry, we grabbed 2 ticks there to put us at +3. Right here, we grabbed 3 ticks to put us at +6. There was another momentum short trade right here that you could have grabbed a little bit on. There was a long trade right in here, a short trade right in here. I missed both of those. Then we picked up this trade right here for 13 ticks to put us at 10 ticks. I'm sorry, to put us at +16. On this trade, I originally thought it was going to get up to here. Then I had picked out this level. You know, and I picked out this level back here. That's when I picked out that level. This level I picked out when we were way down here. This was the pullback area that I was looking for. And so we hit the first level, we hit the second level, we hit the second level again. And then right in here, I had found a third level and we hit that third level. And then I had found a fourth level and we came 1 tick away from hitting that. But I picked up 10 ticks here. We missed the shorting opportunity here. Then we had a break even there and a +2 there to put us at +18 on the morning session. And that was it for the gold. All right. The crude oil was pretty good to us today. We did have one stop out in crude, but here we go. We started out right here in crude, the first trade of the morning. We had, excuse me, we had a break even. Then we picked up 10 ticks on the second trade. Then I was able to put out where I thought things were going to go, but we didn't have the trade setups to get into the trades to go there. And price did go to all the levels that I thought, except for this one at that point. But this one did extend all the way out there. Hit that one a bunch of times and it got choppy. Then we picked up 9 ticks on this move. We're at +19. Okay, we had a break even in here. And it looks like another break even in there. And then right here we had a big move there. 25 ticks I think we picked up here to put us at +44 on this leg down. And you know, while it was going down, I was drawing the areas that I thought it was going to go to and that I thought it was going to pull back to. And it came within a tick of this one and it pulled all the way back up to this one. And it got really choppy in here. We didn't do anything until it got over here, and then I started to see a little bit more. And it had a pullback area up to there, a target area down here. Still no trade entry though. Okay, then finally we got some trade entries in here that we could take. We got long here. We picked up 4 ticks there. We got long there. We picked up 4 more ticks. Then we stopped out right there. I didn't draw the other part of the. We had 2 4-tick trades in a row, and then we had to stop out. And then right here we had. Yeah, see, we went long again. Let me draw the arrow in so it makes a little more sense. Went long again, and we stopped out. This one doesn't look like it makes all that much sense. There, that's better. So we went long there for 4. We went long there for 4. We stopped out there for 8. Then here, we had picked up a couple more ticks. This is correct, right? Yeah, okay, this is where we stopped out. We were back down to 44 on that one. And then we picked up 3 ticks right in there to put us at +45. I'm sorry, picked up 1 tick in there to put us at +45. We had a break even there. And that was the end of the morning session for us. Now during the break, it had a long trade right in here. And that was really it. It didn't have a lot. Like Dwayne was saying earlier, there wasn't, well, It had some trade setups in there, but it wasn't like a normal day. Yesterday was kind of odd too. It seemed like almost like the old normal, not the new normal. Okay, so the ES was really choppy in here. We really didn't have a lot of opportunity because the slingshot was getting whipped all around as price was just bouncing all over the place. We finally took our first trade here on the ES. We picked up 4 ticks on that. Then again, we got into a weekly trading zone and it was all choppy and nasty. We had a break even there, then a break even here. Then on this one, we picked up 13 ticks to put us at plus 17. 2 more there to put us at plus 19. There's 2 more somewhere to put us at plus 21. Oh, that's right. I missed this trade. Okay. That's where we got the 2 more here to put us at plus 21. I took this trade, but I couldn't remember where I got out. I remember where I got in because my original stop was still down here. So I remember where I got in, but I couldn't remember where I got out. I took like 3 points profit on that. But this one right here, we picked up 4 ticks, I think, to put us at plus 26, and 1 more tick here to put us at plus 27. Then we picked something up over here that I didn't record. Something here that I didn't record, and a break even here that I didn't record. So we had a few more ticks, a little bit more gain, but I didn't write it down for some reason. We missed a long here and a long here. And then we got into the break here, and it looks like there was a valid bounce off the BBC right here. I don't know if Anne Marie is in here. Is she in here? She was curious about these YBR trades this morning. There was a nice one right here for that leg up. There was one here for the leg down, another one here for that leg down, and one here that didn't work out. Okay, but regular trade setups during the break, there weren't many. There really weren't any because we're right here with the weekly trading zone. Right here on this leg up, you could have had a bounce off the BBC. And that was pretty much it. Okay, so that was our morning session. It was kind of odd today. Today and yesterday were both a little off. But if you got to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 10th day of March 2021. Today it took we made 45 ticks. In crude, 18 ticks on the gold and 27 ticks on the ES. Put us at 967.5 on the morning session. Today it took 7 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 24 trades this morning. So on the month now, that puts us at $9,410. That's over 8 trading days, averaging $1,176 per contract per 2-hour trading day. We've now hit the goal for the day on 45 out of 46 days this year, and we're on our 21st consecutive day of getting the goal. So on the year now, we're at $40,895. That's over 46 trading days, averaging $889 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Okay. Now, if you've not taken the free trial and you want to, go to the homepage at cfrn.net. Scroll down where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and you'll be brought here to eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link, okay? If you don't click the link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so you got to make sure you click on that link, all right? All right, and with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I'm ready. Recap of the recap.
Today is 7 minutes, 2 trades, $100 contract.
Good job.
Thank you.
Once again. All right, guys. I just got a message from David. He had something come up, so he won't be joining us today at the top of the hour. So we'll just move briskly here through the alerts. As you know, we have 2 different type of alerts that we send out. Michael teaches you our methodology and our strategy and our indicators every day, every trading day, from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 2 hours a day. When you become a passport holder, that's lifetime membership. So that means for the rest of your trading days, you'll have a place to go and hang out, because trading can be a lonely business. So even after you've learned the strategy, you understand the methodology, you know how to read the flow of price and all of that, it's still a place to come and hang out, because like I said, trading can be a lonely business. Now, along with training you 2 hours a day with a live instructor answering all of your questions as the morning progresses, we send out around the clock alerts. What's the alert about? It's about opportunity as it develops in the market. Now, the Logic 247 alerts flow around the clock, just like price, from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern to Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, when the markets close for the week. So as soon as the markets open Sunday night, the Logic channel opens for business, and it's called Logic 247 because there's no mystery, there's no secrets. Remember, we're teaching you the methodology, we're teaching you the strategy. The alerts are simply letting you know that opportunity is presenting itself in the market. And when the alarm goes off on your phone or your tablet, your PC or your Mac, it's not a call to trade, it's a call to go look at the chart. Read the alert, look at your chart, so that you begin to see what it looks like when opportunity presents itself. Our goal is not to get you hooked on the alerts so that you can just trade them and make money and never really have to think about it. What we do is designed for the person who wants to actually learn how to trade, the person who wants to become self-sufficient, the type of person who doesn't want to have to depend on someone else for the rest of their life to tell them when to get in and when to get out, or what's going to happen next. Nobody knows the future. God did not give Adam the ability to change the past or to know the future, and those two things are inextricably linked for eternity. Now, many trading websites would lead you to believe that somebody has outfoxed God and figured out a way to read tomorrow's headlines today. Well, guess what? Some people lie. And sadly, let me apologize on behalf of the industry. I know people have lied to you, made you promises they didn't keep, that they couldn't keep, because they don't know the future. They don't know what's going to happen next with certainty. However, you can know with certainty what the next high probability move is. And that's what our training and our indicators is all about, to help you be able to read a chart. And once you understand our strategy and our indicators, then you too can know what the next high probability move in the markets is. Now, 20% of the time, the market does something other than the next logical thing. So, logic, round the clock, 24/7. Logic 247. You'll also notice on our website, we make none of those outlandish promises that so many other people make, and we don't rely on splashy testimonials that you have to wonder, who the heck wrote that, right? Our work speaks for itself, because we do everything live in real time, right in front of you, whether it's in the room with Michael Trading or the alerts that come out around the clock before they trigger. In every alert, we've built in time for you to finish what you're doing, get to your desk, get your charts up, read the alert, study the chart, and then trade the alert in your simulator or demo account. We do not want you trading live as soon as you join up. We want you to put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less before you go live. Once you put together those 10 days in a row, our blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract, and you will stay with one contract until you increase your account balance by $2,000. Once you do that, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract, which you will fund with the profits you earned trading one contract. When it's time to add number 3, the blueprint will tell you, you only add one at a time when it's time, and you only add additional contracts with profit you earned in the market. That makes it difficult to blow up your account. I'm not going to tell you you can't blow up your account with us, but you'd have to break a lot of rules. Once you go live, if you have 2 days back to back where you don't reach your goal in 10 trades or less, you should come out of the live account, back into the simulator. Now that's not a walk of shame, it's a smart business decision. Book a one-on-one mentoring session so that you and I, or you and Michael, or you and Val, or Bert, or whoever can go over your trades with you to help you understand why you don't have the profit available to add the additional contract. It's important for every trader to understand why a trade got stopped out. Now, it could be because you missed something in the strategy, but quite often it can simply be order flow changed. When you put on that long trade, there was more buying pressure than selling pressure in the order flow, which is why you put the trade on. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, it seems, sellers show up, buyers stop buying, and the order flow switches to the other direction. You have no control over that. You can't foresee it. You can't prevent it. Now, the vendors would love you to spend $10, $20, $30, $50,000, $100,000 on all kinds of gadgets and gizmos and magical recipes that supposedly will change the laws of physics and science. But as I said earlier, sometimes they don't always tell you the truth. You may not always like what we say, but we will always tell you the truth to the very best of our understanding. Since 6 p.m. Sunday night, this past Sunday night, we've issued a total of 84 alerts. It's been a busy week. Of the 84 issued, 18 never triggered. Still waiting on the results of 5. That left 61 actionable alerts, of which 9 were stomped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, based on market structure and a simple 3-step method that we teach all of our traders. In the room, when Michael's training you, he's teaching you that you must always have a hard stop loss in place. We believe in aggressive risk management. For simplicity's sake, in the room, we use an 8-tick hard stop on every market, on every trade. Once you start trading the alerts, those are based off of a 30-minute chart, and we use market structure and this 3-step method to determine where the stop loss needs to be on each individual unique trade. Okay? And so this week, 15% of actionable alerts have been stopped out based on this. But that's not a typical week. A typical week over the last 136 weeks is about 20%. So back to what I said earlier, while you can't know the future with certainty, you can know with certainty what the next high probability move is in the market. But 20% of the time, the market is going to switch it up, and once you enter a trade, it's going to do something that is contrary to logic. It's illogical. And stops happen. 90% of traders burn up all their time and treasure trying to find a way to never get stopped out. Professional traders don't waste their time on such foolishness because they know it's not possible. When a professional trader gets stopped out, they don't lick their wounds. That's not hygienic. They don't throw things. They do what Michael does in the room when he gets stopped out. They go look for the next opportunity. And you have to develop that mindset if you are to ever become a trader. Okay, so this is where we stand for the week with Logic 247. Now we'll go to the charts in just a second. But let me show you this. Okay. In the alert channel, this is what the alerts look like. This is the alert number 6,832. That's how many alerts we've issued since we rolled out Logic 247. And every one of them is a trend trade as defined by a 30-minute chart and our indicators. This is the NQ. B means buy or go long. 12,905. Initial target 12,915. Potential resistance 12,950, or you could call that target number 2. And then target number 3, 12,970. And then the final trade to target. On a long, it's always going to be the weekly trading zone above. On a short, it's going to always be the weekly trading zone below. Russell, long, initial target, second target, third target, final trade to target. Here's an S&P that got stopped out. This is a long on the Dow, still waiting on results. Stop out on gold. Long on gold. Long on the Russell. Long on the NQ. There's gold still waiting. Crude oil short. NQ short. When you see the Z's, that's no trigger. In other words, we were looking to sell 31,640 on the Dow, but price never got there. So no trigger. Here's a short on the S&P. No trigger. Hedge on the Dow. Long on the Dow. Now, here we had a long on the Dow. The market was in a position where it could go either way. And as futures traders, we don't care which way it goes. All we care is that it goes. The market can only do, price can only do 3 things. Go up, go down, go sideways. We don't want any part of the sideways. And our indicators help you stay out of the sideways once you learn how to read them. But sometimes the market will be in a position where it really could break in either direction. And again, that's okay. So we wanted to be long at 32,140, but we also wanted to be short at 31,920 if the market broke in the other direction. And sometimes the market will give you two-sided action. So it actually triggered on the long side, and it also triggered on the short side. There's a mistake on my part, so we just X'd it out. Long on the Russell, still waiting. As a short on crude oil, long on the NQ, long on the Russell, long on the S&P. This was a long on wheat. Hadn't did any ag products recently, and someone asked about them the other night, so I took a look. This is a long on gold, no trigger on crude, long on the NQ, long on the Russell, stop out on the S&P. That's crude, soybeans, no trigger on wheat, stop out on corn, long on gold, short on the Dow, no trigger, no trigger, short on crude oil, stop out on the NQ, long on the Russell, long on the Dow, long on the S&P, stop out. Now here's one, short on the S&P, and then I hedged long. Okay, the short side got stopped out, the long side took a run. No trigger on the NQ, long on the Russell, long on the Dow, stop out on the ES, short on crude, short on gold, long on the NQ, long on the Russell, long on the Dow, long on the ES, short on gold, short on crude, no trigger, no trigger, stop out on the NQ. Now this is Monday, March 8th. Now we're getting to last Sunday night. Today's Wednesday, so Sunday night. Everything you're going to see here happened Sunday night. Most traders are waiting for Monday morning for Wall Street to open, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, but we go to work Sunday night. So we had a no trigger on silver, we had a short on silver, a short on gold, no trigger on crude, short on the NQ, short on the Russell, a hedge short, a hedge on the Dow and the S&P and the NQ, long on the Russell, long on the Dow, long on the ES, no trigger on crude, short on crude, short on the NQ, short on the Russell, short on the Dow. Then we had some gap fill trades. We don't see a lot of gaps with futures because they trade around the clock. They do close Friday and stay closed. The markets close Friday afternoon and stay closed until Sunday night. So about a day and a half. So there's a little pent-up energy. So on Sunday nights, that's typically when we see gaps in the futures market. And on index futures, S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ, it's one of the highest probability setups we have. When you catch that gap Sunday night, S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ, it is an incredibly high probability that that gap will fill, if not in the first couple of hours, at least during the session. Now, it was either last week or the week before, we had some gaps that took a couple of days to fill. That's unusual. These came in pretty much as expected Sunday night. I was a stop out on crude oil, long on the NQ. I'm sorry, it was a long on the NQ, but it never triggered. It never triggered, never triggered, never triggered. And we are in week 136. So you just saw every Logic 247 alert that has been issued this week. You just saw 84 alerts, 18 never triggered. Still waiting on the results of 5, 61 actionable, 9 stopped out. Based on a $300 max risk, less when possible, based on market structure, and a simple 3-step method we teach. Now, we have one other type of alert that guides you, okay? Now, this doesn't come out around the clock as opportunity presents itself. This comes out at the beginning of each session. So last night, Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, is when we published this static report. And the static report said to consider being long on the S&P as an example, at or above 38.94, short at or below 38.62. So once these numbers are good for the entire session. So once this report is published, you should go to your chart, draw a line in the sand, draw a line in the sand, and as price starts to move up towards 38.94, that's bullish. So as you begin to understand the strategy, you'll start looking for long opportunities. Once you get above 38.94, you should only be looking for longs. And once this is published, if price starts drifting down to 38.62, you're looking for short trades. And once you get to 62 or below, you would only be looking for short trades. So just go put a line in the sand for whichever market it is that you trade. Okay? All right. Now we'll go to the S&P daily chart. That right there is the all-time historic intraday high in the S&P 500 E-mini futures. This is the all-time historic closing high put in on President's Day when Wall Street was closed. This is a bearish engulfing formation, or an outside day. In the proper context, after a strong move up, which we had, a bearish engulfing formation is the strongest indication I know of that a reversal is coming. And from 39.60 down to 37.20, that qualifies as a pretty good reversal. Price came down to the 24% fib of this last leg up. Okay, so from that low to that high, that's the last leg up. Now we may be putting together another leg if we take out this high. Okay, and at some point eventually we will, because over time the markets always go higher. That's how they were designed and created. Okay, now I'm not talking about individual stocks. They don't have to go higher over time. But the indices, the S&P 500 is 500 large cap companies that were selected by the board at Standard & Poor's. There's a long list of qualifications, and it's a real, star in your crown to be selected to be a part of the S&P 500. However, if you're a company in the S&P 500 and you miss your earnings a couple times, or some other bad things happen, then that board at Standard & Poor's will take you out of the S&P 500, and in your place they will put a strong, healthy company that has beat their earnings or done some other incredible thing to make them worthy of being included in the S&P 500. So if you are constantly taking out the bad eggs and putting in good eggs, over time it's always going to go higher. You'll have deep retracements, the sky is falling stuff, but over time, if it's an index, S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ, it's going to go higher. Okay. Now, after we put in that high, we retraced back to this green line, which is called the BBC, Bull Bear Cross. Above it we're bullish, below it we're bearish. Above it we're looking for higher prices, below it we're looking for lower prices. So price came down to the BBC. We spiked all the way down to the 50% fib of the last leg up. Buyers came in. They saw that as an incredible buying opportunity, and they drove it up to close the day just above the BBC. The following session, nice bullish session, and then the following session, the bulls tried to keep it going, but failed. They managed to take price up to 39.34 and a half, but nobody was willing to pay 39.34.75. When that happens, when buyers stop buying, that's when sellers come out of the woodwork and go to work. And look what they did. They drove this thing all the way back down to that 50% fib. Buyers came in again, drove it back up to the 38% fib extension. Resistance. When the market finds resistance, wherever it finds it, when the market finds resistance, when buyers won't pay that next higher tick, then price is going to turn around and go look for support. When price pulls back to the BBC, we expect that to be good support. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. So the following session, we open, we rally, but we see we got a high, a lower high, and then we could not make it to that 38% fib extension. And so sellers took us all the way back down to that 50% fib retracement again. Next session opens, buyers try to rally us up, but they run into red and falling, which is bearish. And that sent us down through the 62% Fibonacci retracement. Buyers come in on the next session, they drive us back up to the BBC. Now, just as we expect a pullback like this, or like this, or like this, we expect that pullback to hold and give us another leg. until proven otherwise. When price pulls up from below, we expect it to be good resistance, not support, but resistance when we approach from below. And so it was, and it sent us back down. Now, I said that red and falling represents resistance. It does. Until it gets directly below price. Then it becomes support. So we came down, we dinged red and falling. It was directly below price. Buyers come in. They drove us up yesterday, almost back to that 38% fib price extension. Couldn't quite do it. So we pulled back. Here's where we opened last night. Price dropped to the daily fib, the daily BBC right here. Remember, when we pull back, we expect it to be support. So when the market opened last night, we had a red candle. Came all the way down to the BBC. Buyers came in, drove price up, and once they hit the spot where the market opened, we had a doji for a minute. But then as buyers kept buying, what was once a red candle became a green candle with a wick below it. And buyers continued to, and are still pressing higher. They've got us back up to that 38% fib extension. Question now, where will we close for the session? Can we take out this high right here? Now that high is 39.12. Today's high is 39.11 and a half. We've come within 2 ticks of that high. If we can close above 39.12 today, then our next obstacle overhead will be this swing high, which is 39.34 and a half. And once price takes out that swing high, the only obstacle left in our path will be the all-time historic high at 39.59 and a quarter. Now, that's considering buyers keep the pedal to the metal and remember, it takes financial commitment for prices to rise. All it takes for prices to fall is for buyers to stop buying. Like on this day, price ran up to 39.34 and a half. Nobody was willing to pay 39.34.75, so in effect, buyers stopped buying. So as price starts to drop, sellers come in and do their deal. Okay, there are lots of institutions, hedge funds that focus on shorting the market. Okay. So it's decision-making time. Still got lots of hours left in today's session. What's important for all traders to know is that a close above 39.12 is bullish. We will continue to look for higher prices. Potential resistance at 39.34 half, and then the all-time historic intraday high. If buyers aren't able to keep the buying pressure on, if they hit a spot where they just don't want to pay 1 tick more, price will start to drop. If we come back to the BBC, we expect that to be support. If we trade through that support, then the step line, the red and falling indicator, and then the 50% fib, all potential areas for support. And then this swing low right there, and then here. Okay. Now, I've been talking about the fibs of just the last leg up. There are also fibs on this chart that embrace the entire move. Okay. The move that started on October 30th, that's the low, and the high was put in on February 16th. This is the 24% fib retracement of the entire move up. So as you can see over here, we bounced off the 24. We spiked the 24, The 24 is this one, right here. That little line right there, right at the low of that candle. Now hitting that 24% fib of the entire move up bounced us from 37.84 all the way up to 39.05, a little more, 39.10. And then price came back down through the 24, but buyers held us up. Now the 38% fib, okay, this one's really important. Buyers don't keep the pressure on, and we take out those areas of support that I just mentioned. The bigger drop could take us back to the low of this day, February 1st, and that low was 36.56. We got a 38% fib there at 36.75. Yeah, that's this green line across here. So hopefully you jotted those numbers down. We don't trade off the daily chart. We look at the daily chart each trading. Every time you sit down to trade, you should look at where you're at on the daily, because that's where you're going to see the major support and the major resistance. Things you may not be able to see on your smaller time frame chart. So once you identify, okay, now you don't have to go through this whole thing like I just went through right now. You just need to know this is today's candle. Where's my next important resistance overhead? And that's that swing high right there. Okay, remember we've already come within 2 ticks of it. If we get above it, then it's this high. Okay, and below us support is at today's low, which is also the BBC. So really it's 3 numbers that you need to know. Okay, once you identify that, it takes you a couple minutes. You write those down on your notepad. Now you're ready to go to the time frame that you place your trades on. All alerts, both the logic and the concierge, are based on a 30-minute chart. Everything Michael teaches you in the live training room, it's identical here. The only difference, for the larger time frame, I don't use the slingshot. That was created for the faster time frame, and we use a fast time frame in the room so you can see lots of trade setups every day. If we were using the 30-minute chart in the live training room, you might only see a couple setups a day. And because it's the same thing over and over and over, we want you to see it as many times as possible, because the more times you see it, the sooner you'll catch on to it. Michael was showing you this morning in the room. Bullish cross, price pulls away, price pulls back to physically touch the BBC, up close, go long. Okay, now he was probably able to show you that 3, 4, 5, I don't know, 10 times maybe on the S&P this morning. Had we been using the 30-minute chart in the live training room, we would have, let's see, we pulled back to touch at 6 a.m. Eastern before the room even opened. And then we got that up close on the 6:30 a.m. candle. Entry would have been on the 7 a.m. candle. And you might have re-entered on 8:30. The room doesn't even open until 9:30. Okay? So this is why we use the fast time frame. And when you can learn to think, process, and react on that fast time frame, when you do go to a 30-minute chart or some other time frame, there's nothing magic about 30 minutes. You'll be well prepared. Think of the live training room as boot camp, where you really get put to the test. And once you go to larger time frames, slower time frames, everything just seems simple, and it is. Trading is not easy. If this were easy, everybody would do it. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. So we teach you the setup on that fast time frame, and then going forward, you can just continue to trade the fast time frame, come in, get your points for the day, be done. Okay. If you want a more leisurely approach to the market, the alerts may be more what you're looking for. Okay. Now I just drew a trend line across these tops. We had a high, a lower high, a lower high, and so far a lower high. Now this 3906 number is important because this little 38% fib extension you kept hearing me talk about, that's 3905 and change. Okay. Now, it also happens to be that 3906 was a previous weekly trading zone. The gray line, that's the current weekly zone. So we got a weekly zone up at 3930/31. Below that, we have a current weekly zone at 3880/81. And then the next zone below that is at 3806/07. So we've got these yellow are all previous weekly zones, but today's Wednesday, so I'm going to go ahead and clean my chart up a little bit. I'll get rid of these fibs. There we go. Now 3906, I'm going to leave that one. Now yesterday I called that the no-fly zone, because from 3906, I pointed this out yesterday. If you missed yesterday's show, you can go watch it on the YouTube channel. There's 3906, right? See that? And then the high of this candle right here, 3912. So from 3906 to 3912, that's an area where best not to put a trade on. So it did make it up above 3906. The swing high was 3911.5. Okay. See how important it is to understand from a bigger picture, because we don't have a current weekly zone here. We had a previous weekly zone. But by looking at the daily chart yesterday, we knew that it could be very dangerous to trade between 3906 and 3912. No-fly zone. Okay, and look what happened. Price tried it, and it tried, and it tried. Now price is always trying to get to a weekly trading zone. From the moment the market's open till they close at the end of the week, price is either trying to get to the zone above, in this case that would be 3930, or the zone below, which would be 3880. And you can know which zone it's trying to get to thanks to the indicators. If you're above the green line, the BBC, then price is trying to get to the zone overhead. That's an important price, important area. Price is below the BBC, then it's trying to get to the zone below. So in this situation, the ideal opportunity would be to let price get above that no-fly zone, because you got a big window of opportunity up here. So no reason to, again, this is about finding high probability, low risk trade opportunities in the market. Anybody can click a mouse, anybody can put on a trade. What we're trying to teach you to do is to be able to see windows of opportunity as they develop. Okay? And so if price can take out that high, and I want to see it prove itself. In other words, maybe go up a little bit, then pull back, and that pullback, maybe it's to blue and climbing, right? It holds, and then we start to move higher. So we may potentially have an alert up here later today, depending upon what happens here. 3920 up to, basically up to 3930. Nice 10-point window of opportunity, but price has to overcome a lot of obstacles. The old weekly zone, the trend line I just drew, that swing high, and that swing high, and that swing high. Yeah, so it looks like what will happen. It appears that the high probability move from here is back to the BBC. Remember, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. See here where we pulled back and it held? Then once we got below and pulled up, it held. Pulled up, it held. Okay? Now, it's got to give way at some point, otherwise we'd have stagnant sideways markets. But we got above, pulled back, and it held. Pulled away, pulled back, and it held. Pulled away, pulled back, right? So from here, because there's so many obstacles here, path of least resistance, if we can get below the step line, that's the little black line, that should take us back to a zone from last week at 38.92. Depending upon how long it takes price to get to 38.92, it's possible that price, well boy, it's moving quick, okay? So now, this is kind of a big deal. I don't know if some news just came out or not. I see that GameStop has been halted multiple times today, but that's not affecting what we're doing. So, see how we just came down to 38.92. Important price, important area. What do we expect? Coming down, we expect it to be support. Had this moved at a normal pace, it would have been possible for the BBC to keep rising, and then a couple candles later, price, the candle price, and the BBC would meet up at this old zone from last week. Last week, that was the second to the highest weekly trading zone. Okay, so we've calmed down, bounced. If we get to the BBC, we expect that to be good support until proven otherwise. If price trades below the BBC, then we become bearish, looking for lower prices. And so a close below the BBC, that would create an alert in the channel to trade down to this zone, 38.80/81. So it wouldn't be a big trade, maybe 38.83 down to 38.81. It's 2 points. Okay. Now, there's two things you need that we can't give you or sell you. That's patience and discipline. See, if you understand everything I just said, you know you don't have a long setup here. Okay. You got to wait. You got to be patient. We can't sell you patience. You got to exercise self-discipline. We can't sell you that. You got to dig down inside of yourself and find those things. So you've got to be patient and let price work this thing out. Now, there's a couple things that can happen. Okay, buyers, they look pretty serious the way they drove that thing back up. But that doesn't change the fact that all these obstacles are still there. The trend line itself, the zone, that swing high, that swing high, that swing high, all potential resistance, okay? So you got to be patient and let buyers take price up into an area where there's no obvious resistance. Think of your zones as fixed support and resistance. The indicators are dynamic support and resistance. Price flows on a daily chart exactly the same way it flows on a 1-minute chart. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, back to support. It's a never-ending cycle. So again, these zones are published Monday morning for all of our members at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the week. They don't change. What does change are the indicators. Okay, so when price pulled back here, we expected that to be good support. When price pulled up, we expected that to be good resistance. When this pulled down, we expected it to be good support. So your dynamic support and resistance flows with price, but these are constant. See, when price came up to the weekly zone, we expect that to be good resistance, and it was. It sent price back down to one of last week's zones, which we expect to be support, and it was. So we made another run at this zone, and this time we got through it. Okay. So there's a lot going on over here. Let's do this. Let me open this up a little bit. Look at the volume pouring in. Now that's the number of contracts that have traded in the last 6 minutes. See my clock down here? We're 6 minutes into this 30-minute candle, and we've traded almost 40,000 contracts from resistance to support and back again, from 38.92 to 39.06. That's 14 points. 14 points down and 14 back up almost. 28 points. Okay. However, there was no high probability, low risk trade opportunity. Now, some people would trade counter trend, okay, from this resistance down to the support. But when I showed you the logic alerts, and there's almost 7,000 of them now, every one of those is a trend trade as defined on a 30-minute chart. If price is above the BBC, that's bullish, trend is up. Once price gets below the BBC, trend is down. This was a short-lived trend, but look at where the market found support. This resistance became that support. And as I said, price, whether it's on a daily chart, a monthly chart, or a 1-minute chart, or anything in between, price flows from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, in a never-ending cycle. So this thing can jump around for, we're only 8 minutes into the life of this candle. So I got 22 minutes to go. What we have to see in order to have a high probability, low risk trade setup, we have to have the patience and the self-discipline to wait for price to get up here, or for price to get below the BBC, and then we use our strategy to find the high probability, low risk setup to trade it down to the zone. But whatever trade setup we might come up with on the short side, the final trade to target has to be the weekly zone below. Every one of those alerts I showed you, if it was a long, the final target is the weekly zone overhead. If it's a short, the final target is the weekly zone below. Okay, and price is always trying to get to a zone. You see what just happened? Okay, buyers are not giving up. Now that swing high right there, I've already drawn a trend line, so we want to, if this candle closes above this trend line, that's step one. Step two would be this 30-minute candle closing above that swing high. And then I want to give it some time to sort itself out. Okay. The closer price gets to a zone, the greater the probability that it will actually get to the zone. So this could pop up and fail. Anytime you get a new high of a few ticks, or even just 1 or 2 points, be very suspicious. So when I say I want price to prove itself, okay, I don't want it to just take out this high. I want it to take it out, and then I want to see price pull back a little bit, and I want to see buyers support price above that high. Something like this. So price goes up, and then price pulls back. And then price starts to move higher again. I don't want to be in this move. I don't want to be in this pullback move. As price takes out that swing high right there, that's the move I want to be in, as far as it'll take me, with the final trade to target being the zone overhead. Okay? Patience and discipline. Gotta have it. Now, the Logic 247 alerts come out around the clock. So certainly we had some alerts on the way up of the ones that I just scrolled through and showed all of them to you. Now our forward guidance for the entire session, take a screenshot of this if you would like. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Line in the sand on the long side for the S&P 3894. So draw your line in the sand at 3894. Okay. So that was a CTA to buy 3894. Okay. From 3894, we ran all the way up to 3911. 17 points. 17 points at $50 a point per contract traded. Now, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. A CTA entry, a logic entry, that's always an important price, important area. So we get a 17-point move, and then price comes and gets back below the trigger. Triggers a second time. This time it takes us from 38.94 up to 39.07. So that's 13 points. 17 points, and then 13 points, and then it gets back below the trigger. See that? And from 94 it takes us up to 39.06. 12 points, and you just watched it go back below the trigger and do it again from 94 to 06. So we had what, 17, 13, 14, and then 12 and 12. 4 triggers, 1 alert. That's not unusual. That's typical. When an alert triggers, there's a greater probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. Now, the alert came out last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be right here, this candle. So in order to trade that 38.94, these are 30-minute candles. That's a lot of hours of patience, right? And then this move took an hour, and then it took 30 minutes to get back below the trigger. And then the next move took an hour and a half. Then it took an hour to get back below the trigger. And you watch this run up and down now. If it comes back down, that'll be the second trip down or third, whatever. You get the idea. Patience and discipline. Okay. Now, Did you have to wait for 38.94 to get long? No. Once you understand the strategy, you could have been short right after the open last night, short again, and this morning, long, long, by following the logic alerts. But you don't even have to wait for the logic alert to trigger once you understand the strategy, because I teach you how to find the same windows of opportunity that I find. So it'll get to a point where when I send out an alert, it won't really be an alert for you. It'll be a confirmation. Because you got eyes, you saw it. You saw the rhythm of the market. You now understand what windows of opportunity look like. Just remember, 20% of the time the market is going to do something other than the next high probability thing. That's why over 130 whatever it is weeks and almost 7,000 trade alerts, 20% got stopped out based on the market doing something other than the next high probability thing. Sometimes it actually does do the same, the high probability thing. It just draws down more than the $300 stop loss. So we have to count that as a stop out. And then it still goes on to do the next high probability thing. I would say that's probably 5 of the 20% that get stopped out. 5 to 7% of the time, the trade still goes to the final target. It just drew down a little more than the maximum stop loss. And so we have to count it as a stop out. Everything we do in front of you. It's transparent. No magic, no secrets, no mystery. It's all logic. Now, it may not seem logical to you yet because you don't yet know how price flows. You don't really understand how markets work. And don't be offended. People go, dude, I've been at this for 5 years. I know how markets work. Now, he just got done telling me a few minutes earlier how much money he had spent on indicators and gurus and oscillators and how many accounts he had blown up and all that stuff. So when I say learn how markets work, I'm not trying to offend anybody in any way. What I mean is I want you to learn how price flows, the way that we see it. Okay? We want you to see it the way we see it, which will lead you to thinking about it the way we think about it, and then will lead you to instinctively take the action that the setup calls for. Whether it's to go short, go long. We're just in a holding pattern right now. If price comes down, now there's still 11 minutes left in the life of this candle. Okay. Price comes down to rest on the BBC, and then we get a new candle and it starts printing green. That's a tradable event. Right now, we got nothing. A counter trend trade would be to short it back down to the CTA. But again, all of our alerts are trend trades as defined on a 30-minute chart using our indicators. Above the BBC, we're in an uptrend. Below, downtrend. Now, each CTA, there's two numbers for each market. The short side of last night's numbers was 38.62. Okay. Sell. Now remember that the CTAs are forward guidance for the entire session based on historic price action. The logic alerts, which come around the clock, those are based on current price action. When those two align, that's very powerful, and that happens a lot. So from 38.62, now you'll see this a lot. Price will get to a CTA, and it just can't seem to overcome it. It could be like an iron curtain, okay? Although we did poke below it a little bit here, we got down to 38.59 1/4. So that was 2 3/4 points, and this one poked down to 56 1/4. So that's almost 6 points. Okay, at $50 a point, that's $300 per contract traded. But you see how it just sort of held? There was a couple tradable opportunities there, but for the most part, and that's what the CTAs do. What you're looking for is this, and then a retracement followed by a this, and a retracement and a this, and a retracement and a this. Now on a directional type day where it's just, you know, buyers wall to wall, okay, a strong directional day, the CTA may only get triggered once, but most days it might be only 2 times, it could be 5 times. There have been days we've seen 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Okay, now we've been publishing the CTAs for like 7 years, 8, maybe 8. Logic, we're in week number, what was it, 136, and we're up to almost 7,000 alerts over the last 136 weeks. Now, how long is price going to play this game? From support to resistance to support to resistance to support to resistance to support, forever. Forever. Eventually, either we'll take out this high and open the door to the upside, or we'll get below the BBC and we'll open the door to the downside. So it can do this as long as it wants to do it, because the market's in charge, the market's always right. We don't try to outthink the market or outsmart the market. Our methodology and strategy is designed to help you mirror the market, because the market's always right. So if I can just do what the market does, maybe I'll be okay. Now this will sound incredibly simplistic to people who spent lots of money on sophisticated stuff, algorithms, indicators, oscillators, blah, 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 right? But if the market is moving higher, any market, any time frame, you just want to be long. Any market, any time frame, if price is dropping, just get short. Now, that's oversimplified because you've got to find a way to enter that minimizes the risk and maximizes the profit potential. And of course, we offer all of our members unlimited. Not only do you get the 2 hours of training every day, you have access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring. It's a room just like this, but instead of go to webinar, it's go to meeting. And instead of there being a room full of people, there's just 2 people, me and you, or you and Michael, or you and Valerie, or you and Bert, whoever you book a session with, okay? And each session's 45 minutes. Now you have 10 hours of group training in the morning each week to get all your questions answered. And then you have this afternoon session where you can also ask questions and get them answered. That's 20 hours a week. Plus we do a workshop on Thursday nights for 2 hours. So that's 22 hours of live instruction, interactive, where you get to ask all the questions you want. If there's something you still can't get your arms around after those 22 hours, book a mentoring session. We'll spend one-on-one time with you. We won't just tell you to submit a support ticket and then send you some boilerplate answer or try to sell you some other thing that will help you out, because we don't have anything else to sell you. We got one thing. Passport. $6,000. 45 grand. Oh, I just raised the price. $49.97 to be exact. We've got students who've paid 20, 30, 40, 50,000 and more on trading stuff. Last week, Dr. Tom, who's a guest every Thursday, back when he was a broker, he said he spent over $250,000 on trading stuff. As a member, you won't ever need to buy any more trading stuff. You can if you want to, I mean, but this is everything you need. The group training, the private mentoring, our proprietary methodology, our indicators, round-the-clock alerts. What else do you need? You don't. But I promise you, there's an email waiting in your inbox right now trying to convince you that you do need more stuff, specifically their stuff. Okay? So you can continue to spend your time and your treasure trying to find something that outdoes what we do, or you can make a home here. We're family. I had an interesting situation last night, and I'm going to share it with you, because I can do that. Somebody messaged me. Our discussion group, it's open to the public. It's an opportunity for you to meet real people who are really trying to learn how to trade. And somebody notified me that there was something up. Notice the trial members, it's been brought to my attention there are wolves among us. If anyone who has been given access to this channel as a courtesy has a question, ask it out loud. We're transparent in everything we do. Some of my people have been getting approached with private messages, okay? Our traders, no matter if they're beginners or if they've been with us for years, are always welcome to share their story. I would never ask them to refrain from that. The very reason that we opened this channel to the public is so those would-be traders who have been robbed again and again can actually talk with people who really are learning how to trade. I don't know about you, but I grow so weary of all the phony testimonials that I see plastered all over the internet. I mean, you just read the thing and you know that that was written by somebody other than who it appeared, Bob S. in Philadelphia, with all the glowing accolades. I would love to meet Tom Z. from Saginaw. I'd like to shake his hand, buy him a cup of coffee, ask him a few questions. Well, that's what our discussion group's all about. Okay? Instead of testimonials that you got a question to who really wrote this thing. In our discussion group, if you behave, you can talk to real traders, see live trades, and trade our alerts around the clock during your trial. Everything we do is transparent and out in the open. We don't make promises. We don't rely on testimonials because our work speaks for itself. To my trusted and loyal family here, thank you for making me aware of this situation. To those who are just passing through looking for some easy money, there is none. I don't mean here, I mean anywhere. There is no easy money. Period. Okay? Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. Please do not make my traders uncomfortable, or you will be asked to leave. If you have a question, just ask it and give everyone who chooses to a chance to answer it. I hope each and every one of you passing through finds what you're looking for, along with asking questions and talking with our traders. You can book a one-on-one mentoring session with me anytime at no charge. We treat everyone with dignity and respect. I hope that you enjoy your stay with us, whether it's a day or a week or however long, but honor my request. Also, in life, as in business, you never fish off another man's pier. If you're here trolling, looking for disenchanted traders that you can lure over to the dark side, well, good luck with that. When this particular type of activity comes to my attention, you won't be asked to just leave. You'll be removed. No hard feelings, just business. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Okay? This is the kind of family that we have here, and we have each other's back. Okay? So, hopefully, if you've come here with some unholy motivation, our goal is that you'll see that what we do might not be qualified as some holy grail, and we don't claim it to be, but it's real. What we do is real. Our people are real. Our strategy, our methodology doesn't change every other week because, we had a bad week last week, so we're going to switch it up and try this week. We do the same thing every day. Fast market, slow market, up market, down market. The only thing we try to do is stay out of sideways markets, and our indicators help you do that. So, if this is you, okay, maybe you came here with some less than holy motivation, but I hope you'll really take a close look, okay? And maybe you'll decide to stay. If not, you're welcome to be a part of this radio audience at any time. And maybe, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, you'll see things differently. I've had lots of traders come to us. I've been following you guys for 3 years, 5 years, but I spent my money over here, and over here, and over here. Because they had the sexy websites with the promises, 98% win rate, and all that kind of stuff. I don't win my money, I earn it, but that's another story. You know the promises I'm talking, the stuff that lures you in. You look at our website, we don't make any promises. Our work speaks for itself. What Michael does in the room, what we do in the mentoring sessions, the alerts that flow around the clock. We don't need to lie to you. The truth is too good. Yeah, okay. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Alright, so we've talked to the ES about as much as we can talk about it. The price is still trying to make up its mind. Here's what I think will happen, because I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know what the next high probability move is. We're below resistance. We're painting a red candle. I believe we're headed back for the trigger, back to last week's zone, back to the BBC, that green line. And I think all those things coming together, price, the trigger, the zone, and the BBC, that's what I would call SX4, or support times 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 things coming together. 4 things that individually we would expect to be good support. Any one of those things I just mentioned, we would expect that to be good support. But we got 4 things telling us that this area should be good support. Now, the longer it takes to get there, what's going to happen is this trend line is going to grow. Let me show you. Double click, go from finite to ray. See how it stretched it out? Okay. If we keep consolidating up here, then we're going to get to a point where price might come down and touch this area and then start to print a green candle, but there's no room to run. I mean, we would have to get like way over here, but that could happen. Okay. But if price would just go ahead and drop now, yeah, we just got a new candle 6 minutes ago. So we're not going to get another candle for 24 minutes. Now, one thing that's good about our strategy is everything we teach you is fluid across all markets, all time frames. So if the S&P is not providing you with a trade setup, go look at the Dow, look at the Russell, look at the NQ. Although those four sort of trade as a pack. Look at crude, look at gold, look at ag products. Everything we teach is fluid across all markets, all time frames. So if the indices aren't giving you a setup, flip over to the crude chart, see if there's a setup there. Flip over to the gold chart. We use the same indicators, same time frame, same strategy, same everything. In the room, if Michael's trading the S&P or crude, he doesn't have one set of rules for this one and another set of rules for this one. Now, people will tell you that you can't trade all the markets the same way because they have different personalities. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that they have different personalities. But I do believe you can trade them the same because price flows the same on an S&P chart as it does on a crude chart, as it does on a gold chart, as it does on a daily chart, as it does on a 1 minute chart. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. It's a never-ending cycle. Once you can see that rhythm, all you got to do is step in and try not to step on your dance partner's feet. Okay. When my wife taught me how to do the two-step many moons ago, I wasn't very good at it. So she said, in your head, just count the beat. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll never forget one night she whispered in my ear, "You're moving your lips." I was like, that was funny. I mean, I was trying to do the count in my head to make my feet do what they're supposed to do to stay in time to the music. You know how sometimes some people read, they move their lips when they're reading. Yeah, so I was counting in my head, but I was moving my lips. I guess you had to be there, but it was pretty funny. Okay, so this will come down. It'll eventually find support somewhere. If not here, maybe down here. We just don't have a tradable event right now. Okay. All right, so let's whip through. Now, I did a deep dive explanation on the S&P, but I'm not going to do that on the Dow. I'm just going to show you the numbers because the deep dive explanation would be the same. Same on the Dow, same on the Russell, same on the NQ, same on crude, same on gold, same on soybeans, wheat, corn, you name it. Okay. Support to resistance, back to support, never-ending cycle. Okay. All right. Let's do the Dow. Now, 32,160, that would be an old weekly zone. This week we got a zone at 32,045. Now, I would love a pullback here to the BBC, because the pullback to the BBC, we look for support. And when price drops to a weekly zone, we expect that to be good support. So this would be support times 2. I'd love an opportunity to trade that long, but I can't do that when price is way up there. The highest weekly zone this week is 33,110. we still got 2 days left in the week. 33,110. Now that's 2 times in a row I've loaded my platform and it's not giving me. I gotta get somebody to fix that. So the zone is 33,110 / 115. Okay, and then below that 32045. Okay. Now this was a previous weekly zone. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off because it doesn't seem to be terribly relevant anymore, and it clears up the screen. Below 32045 we've got 31,785. Now this zone from last week, okay, can you see how that's still valid? Price came right down to it and made its turn from bearish cross to bullish cross. So I'm going to make this yellow because I want to hang on to it until it's no longer of value to me. Now the next zone below 31,785. 31,785. Okay. The gray ones are this week, yellow last week. Okay. So I'm going to leave 31,730 because it was good support today. I'm going to leave that one on there. The next one down is 31,225. 31,225. / 31,230. Now, okay, price just ripped right through this zone, did it? Anything special about that? No. So previous zone, make it go away. Previous zone, make it go away. Now this zone, see how it held that low? We'll keep that. That's from Monday. Now 31,340. That was a previous zone. So I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to keep 31,300, the previous zone. And then the next zone for this week are the gray ones, 31,225 / 230. Okay, this old zone, get rid of it. This old zone, get rid of it. 30860. That is a this week current weekly zone. 30860 / 65. Okay. And the next zone is way down at 30360. 30360. I'm just going to clean up the rest of my chart for now. Okay. Now this previous weekly zone at 30690, I'm going to highlight that in yellow because it's still holding sway over the market. So 30360, 30860, 31225, previous weekly zone, Previous weekly zone still holding sway. 31785 current. 32045 current. And the next one, way up there, 33110. Okay. All right. So, windows of opportunity. What do we got? Let me go take a look at now we had an alert this morning to be long 32,220. 32,220. Initial target 240. Second target 32,550. The final target's that zone way up there. Okay. So 32,220. $32,220. So that has triggered. Okay. And the swing high so far is 295. So from 220 to 295, that's 70 points. $5 a point, $350 per contract traded. And it's still got a long way to go. All right, back to the CTAs, concierge trade alerts. If you didn't grab a screenshot earlier, because the numbers are good for the entire session. So let me find the channel again. If you want a screenshot, have at it. Now the CTA for the Dow last night was 31,980. Okay, so from 31,980 up to the weekly trading zone above. That would be 45, 55, it'd be 65 points, $5 a point, like 325 bucks per contract. Once you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, one at a time, only adding with profit you earn in the market, it's a $3,000 move. From there to there. Pendulum swings both ways. Aggressive risk management. Okay, that's what Michael's teaching in the room every day. So we have a logic alert here. Still got lots of room to run. Is it going to come back and trigger again? Yeah, most of the time it does. Okay. Next on the list is the Russell. Okay. And 2389. It's a last week's zone, but this week's highest weekly zone is 2385/2386. Below that's 2271/2272. So we got through the zone. We pulled back to the zone. Only three things happen at a zone. The most likely thing, the thing that's going to happen 75-80% of the time, is consolidation, like this. The second and least likely is rejection. See how this candle came all the way down, touched the zone, but by the time this 30-minute candle closed, the only thing left touching the zone was the wick. That's rejection. Price got rejected. So 75-80% of the time, consolidation and rejection. Then the third and least likely, but it happens, is called the slice. Price sliced through this zone like it wasn't even there. When that happens, when that move runs out of steam, it will most often retrace back to the zone that is sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice. So it's so important that you get those zones on your chart Monday morning when they're published, because they're carved in stone. They're not going to change. It's fixed support and resistance for the entire week. And see how price pulled back right to the zone, and then made on this initial move from the zone 71 up to 2303, 30 points, $50 a point, $1,500 per contract traded. You've earned the right to trade 2 contracts. That would be a $3,000 move. Okay, but before you can earn the right to trade 2 contracts, you got to earn the right to trade 1, and before you can trade 1, you got to put together 10 consecutive days in a row in sim. Not to prove anything to me, but to prove to yourself that you understand the strategy. Because if you don't do those 10 days in sim before you go live, you just got to blow up another, until something changes, nothing changes. So if you become a passport holder, but just continue to do all the things you've done in the past, you're going to get the same results. Same recipe bakes the same cake. You go down the same road, you're going to end up in the same place. Unless you're on an episode of Doctor Who, maybe. But anyway, on the Russell last night, the CTA number on the long side was 2282. I may have mentioned important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Well, it may seem like shooting fish in a barrel. It's not. If it were easy, everybody would do it. Okay? If you're not willing to do the work, save your money. Okay? Simply paying us some money is not going to make you a trader. Watching videos of somebody trade is not going to make you a trader. Okay? You got to do the work. If you want to learn how to swim, you got to get in the pool. All the Mark Spitz videos in the world will not keep you afloat. You've got to get in the water. That's why you've got that simulator account. Practice, practice, practice. Don't worry about screwing up. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody's grading you. Nobody's judging you. We just want you to trade, 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 trade until things start to make sense. You're in the simulator. Getting stopped out isn't going to cost you any real money, but you better make sure you know what the heck you're doing before you go live, because once you go live, that is real money. Okay? And the pendulum swings both ways. All right, so the CTA number was 2282, and it ran up to 98. 16 points at $50 a point. And then price got back below the trigger. Did it again. This time it went from 82 to 98. Once again, 16 points. Price got back below the trigger and took off again. Now this time it got to 22.91. But from 82 to 91, 9 points, $50 a point, $450 per contract traded. So 1 trigger, 2 trigger, 3 trigger. Okay. Now, on the short side, for the Russell, the number was 2232. And that was down here, and it never got touched. So no trigger on the short side. Now, this is important, okay? On this trigger and this trigger, the step line was on the left side of blue and climbing. But on this trigger, the step line had crossed to the right side of blue and climbing. When a move runs out of steam, price will start to walk sideways. The indicators make it easier to see that process because you see the step line. It's clearly on the left side of blue and climbing. It's on the left side, it's on the left side. And then here, it crosses over to the right side. Now, if you were in a long trade, like here's the bullish cross, price pulled away, price pulled back. Once you understand the strategy, you know you could have entered on the open of this candle, okay, which was 22.52. By the time you got to that trigger up there, you'd already have 32, like 22. This candle opened at 22.52 to 82. That's 30 points before you get to the trigger. That's how important it is that you learn the strategy, okay? I have to build in time for people to get there, blah, blah, okay? All right, so what's the big deal? The step line has gone from the left side to the right side. This is where we look for our exit signal, okay? And on a long trade, the exit signal is when a candle closes red below the step line after it's crossed from the left side to the right side. Now, that only works on an extended move, okay? So while that wouldn't apply up here to this CTA, but had you just taken the trade setup that our strategy gave you, leg, retrace, boom, you could have even waited to take out these swing highs if you wanted, be conservative. 22.58. Initial target would have been these swing highs at 62. And then you got a weekly trading zone right there. Now, that would be the final trade to target. But that doesn't mean you have to get out there. When price reaches the final target, if price is still to the left of blue and climbing, and if the step line is still to the left of blue and climbing, there's no reason to jump out of a perfectly good trade just because it's the final target. Okay? Now, you could elect to take profit there. Absolutely, nothing wrong with that. It's your business. You can take profit anywhere along the way. But when you get an extended move like this, I mean, you spend a lot of patience and self-discipline making yourself wait for these kinds of opportunities. So don't be so quick to jump out of a perfectly good trade. If this candle closes, see this one here, this red candle, the step lines, I guess we could say it crossed. Okay, so the closing price of the red candle there, 22.83. That would be the exit signal had you gotten long back down here. Okay, but from the CTA number, we've had 1, 2, 3 triggers so far. Okay, now when price is to the left of blue and climbing, that's bullish, that supports higher prices. But when blue and climbing gets on top of price, like it is right now, see the difference in the dynamic? Okay, blue and climbing, which is bullish support, just became resistance. One more red candle and blue and climbing is going to turn to red and falling. Okay, and that's bearish, that's resistance. So here blue and climbing is support. Price goes sideways, price is directly below it. Now you got to think of that as resistance. I don't care what color it is. Okay, next on the list. Let's get these done. Crude oil. CTA last night for crude was to be long 64.70. Okay, 64.70. The swing high was 81, $100. Then price got back below the trigger, triggered again. This time it ran up to 95. So that's from 70 to 95. That's $250. And then it got back below the trigger. And on this attempt, didn't trigger. Blue and climbing turned into red and falling. Price came down to the weekly zone. See, here's the weekly zone. Is that this week? I don't know if it is. No, that's a previous weekly zone. But because it came into play today, I'm going to make it yellow instead of getting rid of it, because it's still useful to us. Now, the next zone overhead for this week is 65.50. $65.50/55. Below that is 64.70. $64.70. Below that is 62.75. $62.75. And the lowest weekly zone this week for crude oil is way down at 60.05. And we'll get rid of this one and this one. Okay, now the CTA from last night for crude was to be long 64.70. The short side was 62.90, which was never touched. Now, price is above the BBC, price is climbing. We have a CTA trigger here. High of this candle right now, 64.49. So I'm not going to put an alert out, but 64.55 to 64.65. That's $100 per contract. Okay, that's a very small window of opportunity because the final trade to target is at the zone. Now, could you just dive in now? Well, if you want to, it's your trading business. You can do anything you want. Now, because of this, we have to expect that to be good resistance, okay? But let's say that price just shoots up through that window of opportunity. You don't have to get out. You certainly should tighten up your stop, because first you expect the zone to be resistance, and then you expect this swing high to be resistance. But if there's strong buying momentum, so we got a window of opportunity here that could carry over to here, and once price gets above that swing high, then you've got a window of opportunity up here. But let's see this right here. See this bearish cross? That's never been retested. What you'll learn is when you have a bullish or bearish cross that leads to an extended move, like this did, bearish cross, nice move, okay? As price returns to that area, that important price, that inflection point right there. Expect that to be good resistance, at least on the first attempt. Which is why, if I were going to trade this right now, I would just trade it up to here, tighten my stop, either take profit or see if it can punch through, like it punched through here, and then be ready to take profit here. And if it continues to press up to here, boy, I'm really tightening my stop now, because that is one of the strongest indications that this market's going to run into resistance, at least on the first trip up that I know of. Okay. All right. Next on the list, NQ. That's an old trend line from, I don't know where that was from, but it's gone now. Okay. On the NQ, 12,825 is a current weekly zone. 12,825/26. Above that is 13,123. 13,123/24. This doesn't seem to be doing us any favors, so we'll get rid of it. That's from last week. And then below 12,825 is 12,519. 12,519/20. Okay. So price is below the VBC. We know that the last time price tried to drop, buyers came in, loved it, drove it up. We'll come back to test that area again. Buyers came in early. They didn't let it get to the swing low because they don't want to get left behind. They missed this move. If there's going to be another move, they don't want to miss it. They come in early. So what I want to see is I want to see price get below this area, because I don't want to just take a shot. I want a high probability, low risk trade setup. If I can find a high probability, low risk trade setup, I know that even still, 20% of the time, the market's going to do something other than the high probability thing. Okay, so I want to see price take out this low, come down, retrace, hold a pullback. So basically 12,650 down to 12,530. From 650 to 530, that's 120 points at $20 a point. It's $2,400 per contract traded. So you got to be patient. Price has got to take out this support, this support, this historical support. And that doesn't, if price gets here, it doesn't mean it's just going to drop in a straight line. Price rarely travels in a straight line. It'll probably do something like that. And it'll do that. It'll do that. And remember, important prices, important areas are almost always tested, so it'll probably do that. And it'll do that. And it'll do that. And then it'll make a run for the roses. Okay? You're in a downtrend, but in every downtrend there are up legs. In every uptrend, there are down legs. I mean, look at this retracement. Consolidated for hours before it gave us the next leg. Now we're back consolidating in that same area. Now by the time you and I talk tomorrow, price will have done one of two things. It will have taken out these lows and made a run at the zone below, or it will get above this zone. And I know we have an alert in the channel right now for this window of opportunity. The next zone overhead for this week is 13,123. So already in the channel is this window, and this is labeled as potential resistance in the channel. And then the remainder of the trade is here. So if you look in the alert channel, you've got an entry, you've got an initial target, you've got a second target, maybe a third target. But targets are also obstacles. Obstacles are also targets. And then you've got, and this is why you should be looking at the chart. You look at the alert, then you look at the chart. Okay? Because the second target slash obstacle and the third target slash obstacle are not nearly as powerful as this target slash obstacle. Because even though this is potential resistance, and even though this is potential resistance, this is resistance that sent the market tumbling. Okay? However, if it can get through there, and we expect it to continue right on up to that zone. They're like magnets. All right, 12,890 on the NQ last night. CTA 12,890. And from 12,890, we ran up to 12,990, 100 points, $20 a point, $2,000 per contract traded. That's what the market made available. Then price got back below the trigger and did it again. But this time it only ran up to 956. So from 890 to 956, that's about 60 points at $20 a point. That's $1,200 per contract traded. This move took 30 minutes. It was the 30 minutes ahead of the Wall Street Open, looks like. Short side for the NQ last night was 12,635. And we haven't got there yet. Lines in the sand. All right. Two more markets and we're done. Gold. Gold taking out a trend line that came from somewhere. Well, it looks like it was a price channel at some point, perhaps. Okay, so weekly trading zones. 1719, that's this week's zone. The next zone overhead is 1751/52 this week. Below that is 1710/11. Below that is 1695/96. Below that 1683. Below that 1670/71. And that yellow is a previous weekly zone, but you can see that on Monday it was still holding sway. Okay. So last night's CDA for gold, 1722. Swing high here was 21.8, so it never triggered on this move. The trigger was 1722. So it triggered here, then it drew back. Now, remember I told you only 3 things happen at a zone? Consolidation most likely, rejection second most likely, third and least likely, the slice. See what price did here? It sliced through the zone, ran out of steam, retraced back to the zone it sliced through, and then continued in the direction of the slice. So from 1722, we now have a swing high at 24. That's $200 per contract traded. But the next zone overhead is way up there. Could gold be setting up for a big bull run? Could be. I may have mentioned, I don't know what's going to happen next. I only know what the next high probability move is. And so can you. All right, silver last night, 26.26 was the long side. Come on now, 26. There we go, 26.26. Swing high is 26.30. So that's 4 pennies. A 2 penny move is $100. A $1 move is $5 grand. Okay. Short side for silver last night was 25.87. $25.87. Okay, so from 25.87 we dropped to 25.61. So it's at about $1,250 per contract traded. And then price got back above the trigger, did it again. Now, not all triggers are created equal. Over here on the trigger, you have red and falling. That's what you want. Over here, because blue and climbing represents potential support, you would be selling right into potential support. Now, it did make it through, and if you took that trade, it was profitable, okay? But remember, we only want the highest probability, lowest risk trades that we can find. So while this ticks all the boxes, this one doesn't. Market structure is constantly changing. Last night, this alert went out at 6:30. So that's going to be 18:30. Okay, this candle right here is when the CTAs came out last night. Every candle to the right had not happened yet. And this is why it's so important. Never trade an alert just because it's an alert. Number one, you don't learn anything. And number two, market structure may have changed. And you need to be aware of what the current markets. You might be going, well, I don't care about market structure. Well, you better. If you want to learn how price flows, you need to learn this, you know, and ask yourself the question, do I really want to be a trader? Because this dude's making it sound like a job. Like I got to show up every day and apply myself. I can't answer that question for you. If you're looking for easy money, there is none. Not here, not anywhere else. If you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to follow the rules and exercise patience and discipline, then you quite possibly, my friend, could be, instead of the 9 out of 10, you just might be the 1 out of 10. Now, if 9 out of 10 new traders fail, we have to assume, based on this Futures magazine article, that 1 out of 10 succeeds. I encourage you to track down a 1 out of 10er and ask them this question. When you started, did you have a teacher? 9 times out of 10, they're going to go, of course, how else would I learn? Because that's how their mind works. But see, for 90% of us, our mind does not work that way. If we want to become a plumber, we know we got to go to plumbing school or become an apprentice. If we want to be a pilot or a brain surgeon, we know we got to go to school and learn how to do the job, right? And then get certified, and get a license, all these things, hang out our shingle. With trading, all you need is enough money to open an account and print up some business cards, and you're in business. There's no license required. Anybody can become a trader, but only 1 out of 10 become a profitable trader. Now that's outside of our walls. Our numbers are dramatically different. Talk to our traders. They're nice people. They're hanging out pretty much round the clock with us in the discussion group. Okay. Now, what I said earlier, I was serious about it. Okay. If you make my traders feel uncomfortable, I will unceremoniously remove you from the discussion. You're welcome to ask questions publicly. Give everybody a chance to answer. I would never ask my traders to refrain from telling you their story. Okay? What I don't want is them feeling creeped out because somebody keeps sending them these private messages about this, about that. If you really want the truth, ask. Let everybody tell you their truth. Okay? We're transparent in everything we do. And so if you're going to hang with us, you need to be transparent too. Now, once you become a member, that doesn't mean you can't private message me. Tons of my traders private message me all day long. Hey, boss, will you look at this setup? Coach, will you look at this? I'm getting ready to go long here on the Russell. What do you think? You don't have to put that in the public discussion. You can private message me that, and that's fine. I'm happy to help when I can, if I'm in front of my charts. But my people, my family, my friends, please don't make them feel uncomfortable. Okay? I forgive you for past transgressions. Just don't do it again. Please. And thank you. All right. Time now for our good word for the day. For the last 4 days, I think, we've been talking about being creative. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth and man. He then said, go forth and multiply, or create. The Creator at creation, He created us in His own image and said, now you go be creators. All right, Exodus 28:3. Speak to all who are gifted artisans. Hang on 1 minute. I think that was yesterday's scripture. Yeah. Okay, so it was a 4-day talk. We're done. I think it was okay. I learned from it. So at youtube.com/CFRN, we archive all of our daily shows. You could, if you wanted, the last 4 days, you could just fast forward to like the last 10 minutes of the show, and you could get part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 of how being creative is a part of following Jesus. Today we'll talk about prayer. Why do we pray? We've all, even those of us that pray a lot, we have asked ourselves this question from time to time. Is anybody out there? Anybody listening? No, you might not want to admit it. So I'm talking to that part of you that doesn't want to admit it. Because it's all of us. Matthew 21:22. Whatever things you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. Now, you might stop me right there and go, hang on, pal. I asked in prayer for whatever, and I believed, and I didn't receive it. Okay. Well, the hang up there might be the believing part. Okay. Maybe you believe that God can answer prayers, but maybe you don't fully believe that He will answer your prayer. You know, this is a faith-based thing, right? It's all based on faith. Ye must believe, right? Some believe, some don't. So, this prayer that we hear, you know, in church, where they just hammer it. You gotta pray, you gotta pray, you gotta pray. You gotta read the word, eat the word. Chomp on the word. I get aggravated. I'm human. Sometimes I hear these things that are just, it's so much Christianese that it's no wonder some people kind of get turned off to it. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying I understand. That's all. Thank God I'm qualified to just understand. Why pray? You say, if God loves me and knows what I need, why should I have to ask Him for it? That's a valid question. If God loves you and knows what you need, then why should you have to ask Him for it? Because prayer means talking to God and listening to God, which leads to building a relationship with God. Now, God used to come and walk in the garden in the cool of the day with Adam. Companionship. God wants to be an intimate part of your life. He wants to fellowship with you. But He's not going to kick the door open and force Himself on you. Now, I used to have it in my head that prayer was me kneeling, sitting, standing, whatever, telling God, hey, I thank you for all your blessings. Now, I need this, 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 and this. Right? But I've learned if I have 10 minutes to pray, which I know seems like a lot to some, 10 minutes? You pray for 10 minutes? Some people pray for days. But anyway, if I got 10 minutes to focus on communing with God, I want to only talk for 1 minute and let Him speak for the other 9. Think about your typical prayer time. How much time do you spend talking, pleading, travailing, wailing, whining, compared to how much time do you spend listening? It's a still small voice, but we've all heard it. Prayer means talking to God, and more important, I think, listening to God. This is how we build a personal relationship with Him. Not every faith believes in a personal relationship with God. My bookkeeper for many years, Bunny Bud, she kept a kosher kitchen. She wasn't what I would call a religious person, not the way we as Christians would define a religious person, but keeping a kosher kitchen, that's no joke. There's a lot of work involved there. Okay? And she and I used to have some really interesting discussions. We never fought or argued. I respected her beliefs. She respected mine. When she was sick in the hospital, I learned enough Hebrew to go in and pray for her, in my little broken Hebrew language. She laughed. But hey, I made her laugh. She was in bed sick in the hospital, So I achieved my purpose. Anyway, she did not believe in this personal relationship with God. Being raised in a Jewish family, a Jewish household, that's not what she was taught. Now, her husband, Arnie, he was of the royal lineage, however that works, that at the temple, he was like the only guy in their temple who, I guess based on his heritage, was allowed to stand and recite the scriptures in the temple. Now, in the Bible, we read about that in the temple. Different ones would stand and read the scripture. You had to be of a certain bloodline or the house of David or something. I don't know. But she kept a kosher kitchen, and he was able to stand in the temple and read the scripture. So if that makes them religious people or not, I don't know. My point is this. I believed in a personal relationship. She didn't. Her belief was kind of that we were put here sort of on autopilot. We were taught right from wrong, and we were supposed to do this, not that. But we couldn't expect God to come down and get involved every time we had a hangnail. We truly had some very spirited conversations, but it never turned ugly. She never had to throw me out of her office. I enjoyed the times I spent with her. She's gone now, but I learned a lot from that relationship, from someone who did believe in the Creator, just not the Savior. But I learned a lot. So, we as Christians are taught about this personal relationship with Jesus. And if you're going to have a personal relationship with someone, you got to get to know them, right? Now, a lot of people know of God. A lot of people know of Jesus. But a lot of those people who know of Him don't actually know Him. I know of Donald Trump, but I don't know him. I know of Barack Obama. I never met him, never had a conversation with him. See the difference? If you want to build a relationship with Him, a personal relationship with Him, Jesus said this in Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. When your prayers are based on your relationship with God, your needs get met. When you love God and spend time with Him, His Word says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love Him. But it was to us that God revealed these things by His Spirit. 1 Corinthians 2:9 and 10. Now, I hope you got that. God has planned a level of blessing for you that your natural eye can't see, and your natural mind can't comprehend. And when you pray, he reveals things to you by his Spirit. When that happens, your faith grows and you're able to receive what God wants you to have. So I want to encourage you and myself to develop a lifestyle of prayer. Paul said we should pray without ceasing. And you might say, yeah, I know a guy like that downtown. He's got a shopping cart and, you know the guy I'm talking about. No, I don't mean that. Pray without ceasing. You know, we're always thinking about something. I understand that there are these guys that go up into the Himalayas. They levitate and they make their mind go blank, right? They focus on the candle or the lotus or the whatever. And, you know, I'm knocking that. I know I can't do it. So I'm going to stick with the thing I know about, and that's that I know if I'm awake, I'm thinking about something. Paul said that we should take every thought captive. We can only hold one thought on the big screen in the theater of our mind. Now, the enemy, he loves to sling garbage up onto the screen. All the reasons why you're not good enough and blah, 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 right? Now, you can dwell on what he puts on the screen, or you can do like Paul said, you can take it captive, cast it down. Take it captive and cast it down. Take it captive and cast it down. Now, if you can only hold one thought. Now the mind's fast, faster than any supercomputer. Well, maybe not doing math, but you know what I'm talking about, I hope. If there can only be one thing on that screen at a time, let it be something you intentionally put there. And then when the enemy superimposes something over that, then you take it captive, you snatch it down, and you go back to where you were. Now for me, you know, I'm no theologian. I never went to any Bible college. For me, praying without ceasing is sort of just talking to God. If I'm walking from the house to the post office or walking through the grocery store, I can dwell on my problems. Won't fix anything, right? I can worry about stuff that won't change anything. Or I can just talk to God. Sometimes it's like just an attitude of gratitude. I bless you, Lord. I thank you, God, for all of your blessings in my life. You've been so good to me. And, you know, when you're in that mindset, you can still find the green beans and the dog food and the milk. And you prevent the enemy from putting that stuff up on the big screen in the theater of your mind that you really shouldn't be dwelling on. Okay? Your mind is the enemy's battleground. That's where he wins most of his battles. And he's been around since the beginning of time, so he's had a lot more time to perfect his craft than you and I have to try to defeat him on our own. On our own, we can't defeat him. It is only through the blood of Jesus, the power of the Holy Spirit, that you and I can defeat him. So I want you to think about that, praying without ceasing. What would that mean to you? What would that look like? Probably don't want to move your lips, because then somebody's going to find you a shopping cart and go, hey brother, I see you on hard times. Stand here talking to yourself. Here's a shopping cart. I was joking. I forgot my laugh track. Okay. God has planned a level of blessing for you that your natural eye can't see, your natural mind can't comprehend. And when you pray, He reveals things to you by His Spirit. This is the listening part I'm talking about. I got 10 minutes to spend time with God. I really want to be trying to listen. Now, I might be singing a little praise in my head, but I'm in neutral. You know, I'm in receiving mode. I'm not reading some laundry list of things that I need, the world needs. You follow me? Okay. As you're praying, God will reveal things to you by His Spirit. When that happens, your faith grows, and you're able to receive what God wants you to have. So develop a lifestyle of prayer. Praying all the time. Everywhere you go. In the midst of your daily routine. Develop that deeper personal relationship. I don't know if you've ever been called on to pray at a family gathering or something, but every time I see that happen, where there's a gathering of people and maybe we're getting ready to eat or whatever, and say, hey, so-and-so, would you open us up in prayer? A lot of shuffling of feet happen. You can always tell who's been spending time with Jesus and who hasn't. Because as some people start to pray, it's like they're speaking a foreign language and others just flow into it. Now, don't get me wrong here. There's nothing special about these long flowing prayers other than they sound pretty, like a piece of music, right? But the effective prayer of a righteous man or woman availeth much. So there can be a lot of pretty empty words, or there can be an old farmer there in his overalls with dirt on his boots, and he may not say 10 words, but you feel it in your heart, because he just prayed heaven to earth, and you got to experience it. And while you're experiencing that wonderful thing, the lady in the aisle next to you goes, I wish you wouldn't wear those old overalls to church. Give me a break, please. All right. God has planned a level of blessing for you that your eye can't see, your mind can't comprehend. And if you will spend time in prayer, intentional, just communicate. Hey, God, I'm not here to ask you for anything. Just here to tell you I love you. Just want to hang with you a little bit. You know, this is where praise music can be good. Okay, some of us maybe don't sing so well at all, maybe, you know. But consciously fellowship. Hey God, I want to spend some time with you. I'm not really sure what I even should say right now. I just need to feel your presence. That's all. And guess what? He'll show up if you shut up. That was my biggest problem. I couldn't shut up. He kept trying to show up, but I'm just yakety, and he's a gentleman. He'll stand there and listen. And then as he's just about to, answer, say something deep, oh, my 10 minutes are up. Got to go back to work. Catch you tomorrow. And he just stands there and shakes his head. Now, if you start doing this, your faith will grow, and you'll be able to receive what God wants you to have. Maybe not. See, he said, I'll supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory. Not everything you want. Your prayer needs to line up with the will of God. When you pray the heart of the Father, that's when you're going to see miracles happen in your life. 1 Peter 5:7. Casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. God cares about every detail of your life. Now that hangnail I talked about earlier, you know, he is a busy guy. I mean, we can pick out our own shirt, right? God, which shirt should I wear to the interview? Just put on a shirt. Because if you have Jesus with you when you go to that meeting, it won't matter what kind of shirt. You have one of those Hawaiian luau shirts, and you still get the job, if that's God's will. Okay? So I try not to bother him too much with the mundane. But if something unexpected happens, like a flat tire, I certainly don't expect God to change my tire. But my first thought is, God, what should I do? God, what should I do? And then I shut up. Now, obviously the tire's got to be changed, fixed, etc. Do I call my wife? Do I call AAA? Oh, I don't have AAA. Do I have a jack? There's a man in overalls driving a truck. Boy, I bet he's got a jack. You know, involve God in all areas of your life to the best of your ability. But remember, you got to do the work, just like in trading. Okay? Some people think, oh, if I surrender my life to Jesus, it'll just be an easy ride. I'm going to have to give up a lot of stuff. I can't talk nasty. I can't smoke. I can't drink. I can't chase women. But at least life will be easy. That's some messed up gospel somebody's been preaching to you. Don't fall for that. Okay? When you become a believer, doesn't mean there'll never be another storm. What it means is that you, because of who you know, can have peace amidst the storm. Some people freak out when it rains, other people dance in the rain. You get to decide which one you want to be. 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Every detail. So when you become anxious about something, talk to him about it. And he left his word for a reason. Not to prop your feet on the coffee table. Granddaddy Reeves. God, that used to aggravate Granny. Just kidding, Grandpa. But he really did, and it really did aggravate her. Now, maybe you find it difficult to read the Bible. Maybe the these and the thous throw you off. I don't want to get into a theological argument about different translations. Okay? The King James Bible exists for a reason. I'm not even going to that. You study the history. Now, it may be the Bible you grew up with, the one that was approved by your denomination, etc., etc., etc. But if you study how it came together, what books were included and which books were not included, and all the different stuff, there was a big conference, and lots of important religious people were invited. Some didn't come. Wonder how the Bible we hold today might be different if some of the people who were invited that didn't come had actually come, and some of the people who did come hadn't come. There's a lot of speculation there. So, I grew up with the King James. There are translations today that I know some people just get fired up about. I remember the first translation I came across as a young man, I think, was called the Living Bible. There are some plain English Bibles. One in particular that I enjoy, but I don't even want to start an argument with anybody. And you don't have to, and if reading is the issue, I encourage you to go to the App Store and get the Daily Audio Bible. Brian Hardin reads the Bible to you every day. Little Old Testament, little New Testament, some Proverbs, some Psalms. Then he ties it all up at the end. And then he plays the voicemails that have come in the last 24 hours. He's been doing this for years. If you put that app on your phone, you'll get through the entire Bible in 1 year. So, I mean, you can be listening while you're driving or with your earbuds when you're standing in line at the grocery store getting aggravated because it's taking so long, right? The Daily Audio Bible. Brian Hardin. Now, he's a quirky guy. Takes you a minute to get used to his voice. But what amazes me is he can pronounce all those names in the Old Testament, and they just flow off his lips like honey. I'm amazed. He really can. But he's got a heart for people. And he's done this ministry now for many, many years. He's out of Tennessee somewhere. Check it out. I'm sure it's in the Google Play Store. I got it out of the Apple Store, App Store. Daily Audio Bible. If you'll install that app and actually listen to it every day for a week, it takes about 30 minutes. I bet you'll fall in love with it too. And if you don't, that's okay. You can always delete it. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. And one of my favorite parts is actually at the end when he plays the voicemails that have come in over the last 24 hours. Prayer requests, praise reports, people all over the world. It's great. And that could be the very thing that sort of leads you into your prayer time. Because he gets your spirit stirred up. So, anyway. When a problem comes up, if you've been reading your Bible or letting Brian read it to you, when a problem comes up, you can say, Father, you said in your word you would do this for me. And then quote the promise from God's word. And then believe that he'll actually do what he said he would do. It's called Standing on the Promises of God. Old gospel song. But in order to stand on the promises of God, you've got to know the promises of God. So whether you break out your King James or your New Living Translation, there is one translation, I won't get into that today because it would take up a lot of time. There's a really important scripture that was left out. I mean, it wasn't modified, it wasn't transliterated, it just isn't there. And it was a really important scripture. We'll talk about it one day later this week. All right, I got to run. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.